Dr. Zara Kim rubbed her tired eyes and stared at the computer screen again. The strange signals had been coming for 3 days now. They were not like anything she had ever seen before. The patterns were too complex to be natural, but too alien. To be human, Zara worked at the Deep Space Communication Array on Luna, Earth's moon. Her job was to listen for signals from space. Most days, she found nothing but static and radiation from distant stars. But these signals were different. Seemed to be trying to say something. She played the recording again. The sounds were like music mixed with mathematics. There were patterns that repeated, numbers that made sense, and something that felt like desperation. "Computer-run translation protocol 7, she said. The machine hummed and worked. After an hour, words began to appear on her screen, broken words at first, then sentences that made her heart race. Help, ... humans. Last hope, ... humans, ... Zara's hands shook as she read more. The message was from a planet called Kepler-4 for 2b. The beings there called themselves Zephyrians. They were dying, and somehow they thought humans could save them. She grabbed her phone and called Commander Helen Ross, head of Earth's Space Defense Initiative. "Commander, you need to see this," Zara said when Ross answered. "It's 3 in the morning, Kim. This better be important. It's aliens, Commander, real aliens. And they're asking for our help." 2 hours later, Zara sat in a secure room deep under Luna Bays. Commander Ross was there, along with General Pete Murphy from Earth Command and Dr. Lisa Chang, Earth's top expert on alien life. "Play it again," Commander Ross said. Zara hit the button. The alien sounds filled the room. Then her computer spoke the translation in a flat, mechanical voice. "People of Earth. We are the Zephyrians of Kepler-4 for 2b. Our world is dying. A dead star approaches our system. Its radiation will cook our atmosphere in 47 of your days. We have studied you from far away. You've solved problems that seem impossible. You are our last hope. Please help us." The room was quiet for a long moment.
Ow.
"Do we know this is real?" General Murphy asked. Dr. Chang leaned forward. "The mathematics check out. The stellar data they're sending matches our observations of that system. This is either real or the most elaborate hoax in human history." "What kind of help are they asking for?" Commander Ross asked. Zara pulled up more of the translated message. "They say they have ships, but not enough to save everyone. 12 billion people live on their planet. We can only evacuate 30% before the radiation kills the rest." 12 billion, General Murphy whispered. "That's more than Earth's entire population." "There's more," Zara said. "They're offering us something in return. Their entire database of technology. They say they're thousands of years ahead of us in science." Dr. Chang's eyes went wide. "That could advance human civilization by millennia. Or destroy us," General Murphy said. "How do we know they're not planning to invade?" "Because they're dying," Zara said simply. "Their message includes real-time data from their planet. Their radiation levels are already killing people. This isn't a trick. It's a cry for help." Commander Ross stood up and walked to the window that looked out at Earth. "Even if we wanted to help, what could we do? Our fastest ship would take 20 years to reach their system." "They thought of that too," Zara said. She pulled up another part of the message. "They're sending a ship to meet us halfway. It has some kind of faster-than-light drive. The meeting point is at the edge of our solar system." "This is insane," General Murphy said. "We're talking about first contact with an alien species, and they want us to save their entire civilization. We don't even know if we can trust them." "We don't have time to debate trust," Dr. Chang said. "If their timeline is correct, every day we wait, more of them die." Commander Ross turned back to the group. "I need to talk to the President and the World Council. But first, I want to know if we even have a ship that can make this journey." She pressed a button on the table. "Get me Captain Jake Martinez." 20 minutes later, Captain Martinez entered the room. He was tall and calm, with the steady eyes of someone who had spent years in space. He commanded the UES Endeavour, Earth's most advanced exploration ship. "Captain Commander Ross said, We need to know if your ship can make a journey to the edge of the solar system to meet with an alien vessel. Martinez didn't even blink. When do we leave? You don't seem surprised by the alien part, General Murphy noted. I've been in deep space for 15 years, Martinez said. I always wondered when we'd meet someone else out there. I'm just glad. They seem friendly. Zara played the message for Martinez. He listened carefully, asking technical questions about the alien ship's capabilities and the meeting coordinates. We can do it, he said finally. The Endeavor is built for long-range exploration, but I'll need to pick my crew carefully. This isn't a normal mission. No, it's not, Commander Ross agreed. Captain, if we decide to do this, it won't just be a rescue mission. It will be the most important moment in human history. Martinez nodded. Then we better not mess it up. Over the next 12 hours, decisions were made at the highest levels of Earth's government. The message was verified by every expert they could find. The stellar data was confirmed by observatories around the world. The alien ship was detected by long-range sensors, approaching the solar system exactly as the message had predicted. Finally, President Sarah Johnson gave the order. We're going to help them. Captain Martinez assembled his crew. He chose engineer Lisa Park, who could fix anything and build solutions from spare parts. Tactical officer Ryan Cole joined them, a man who could think 3 steps ahead of any problem. Dr. Amy Foster came. As a medical officer, bringing her skills in both human and theoretical alien biology. Navigator Ben Clark completed the team, known for finding paths through space that others said were impossible. As the Endeavor prepared to launch, Zara Kim received one more message from the Zephyrians. This one was different. It was personal. Dr. Kim, the translation read, we have sent our message to 17 different species across the galaxy. You are the only ones who answered. We do not know why humans alone chose to help strangers. We hope to learn this secret before our time ends. Zara stared at the message for a long time. Then, she walked to the observation deck and watched the Endeavor launch into the black of space, carrying humanity's answer to the stars. When someone asks for help, you don't turn away. The ship disappeared into the darkness, heading toward. Meeting that would change everything. Behind them, Earth held its breath and waited to see what would happen when. Humanity tried to save an entire alien world. The galaxy was about to learn what humans were really made of. The Endeavor reached the meeting point 3 days later. Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge, watching the view screen show empty space, filled with distant stars. Then Ben Clark called out from his navigation station. Contact, Captain. Something big is dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Space in front of them twisted and bent. Reality seemed to fold in on itself, then snap back. Where there had been nothing, now floated a ship unlike anything humans had ever built. The Zephyrian vessel was beautiful, looked like it was made of crystal and light. The hull seemed to glow from within, and strange patterns moved across. Its surface, like living art. It was 3 times the size of the Endeavor. They're sending a message, Ryan Cole reported from the tactical station. Put it through, Martinez said. The view screen changed to show the inside of the alien ship. A tall figure stood in what looked like their bridge. It was clearly not human, but it was beautiful in a way that took Martinez's breath away. The being was nearly 8 feet tall and seemed to be made of the same crystal-like material as their ship. Light moved under its skin in slow, graceful patterns. Its face was elegant and thin, with large eyes that held wisdom and sadness. When it spoke, the words came through their translation system in perfect English. I am Elder Vorthon of the Zephyrians. Captain Martinez, we are grateful beyond words that you came. We're here to help, Martinez replied. What do you need us to do? Please come aboard our ship. We will travel together to our world. Time grows short, and there's much to explain. An hour later, Martinez and his crew floated in a shuttle bay inside the Zephyrian ship. The artificial gravity felt normal, but everything else was strange. The walls seemed alive with flowing light. The air had a sweet smell that reminded Amy Foster of flowers. Elder Vorthon met them personally. Up close, the Zephyrians were even more impressive. They moved like dancers, and their voices had a musical quality that made human speech sound rough. "Welcome to the ship we call Harmony," Vorthon said. "We'll reach our world in 2 of your days."
Ow!
"Tell us about your planet," Dr. Foster said. "We need to understand what we're dealing with." Vorthon led them through corridors that curved and flowed like rivers. They passed other Zephyrians, all tall and graceful, all with the same sad beauty in their crystal faces. "Our world has been peaceful for 10,000 years, Vorthon explained. "We have no weapons, no armies, no concept of war. We are scientists, artists, philosophers. We thought this was enough." They entered a large room filled with floating displays showing Kepler 44b. It was a beautiful planet, covered in crystal cities that sparkled in the light of their sun. "The rogue magnetar appeared in our outer system 6 months ago," Vorthon continued. "It is a dead star, but still incredibly dangerous. Its magnetic field and radiation will strip away our atmosphere and cook everything on the surface." Lisa Parks studied the displays. She was quiet for a long time, then asked, "How many ships do you have for evacuation?" 47 large vessels and 300 smaller ones," Vorthon replied. "Each large ship can carry 2 million of our people. Smaller ones can take 50,000 each." Ryan Cole did the math quickly. "That's about 110 million total capacity. You said you have 12 billion people." "Yes, we can save less than 1% of our population." Vorthon's light patterns dimmed with sadness. "We have tried everything our science can imagine. We cannot build more ships in time. We cannot deflect the magnetar. We cannot shield our planet." Ben Clark was looking at star charts on one of the displays. "Wait a minute. These evacuation routes, they're not optimal. You could fit more ships through this corridor here, and this path would be faster." Vorthon looked confused. "Our computers calculated the most efficient routes." "Your computers are wrong," Ben said simply. "Look, if you adjust the departure angles by 15 degrees and stagger the launch times, you could cut the evacuation time by 30%. The Zephyrians in the room began talking excitedly in their musical language. Vorthon's patterns brightened. "How did you see this so quickly?"
Ow!
"Our best minds worked on these calculations for months." "Sometimes you need fresh eyes," Ben replied. Doctor? Foster was examining biological data about the Zephyrians. "Your people can survive in much harsher conditions than humans," she noted. "Your bodies can handle radiation levels that would kill us instantly. Have you considered temporary underground shelters?" "Underground?" Another Zephyrian scientist approached. "We have never lived underground. Our people need light and open spaces." "But you could survive underground," Amy pressed. "Even if it's unpleasant, it's better than dying." Lisa Park was studying the technical specifications of their ships. "These engines are incredible. Power output is amazing, but you're not using them efficiently." "What do you mean?" Vorthon asked. "You're thinking like engineers," Lisa said. "Everything is precise and safe and by the book. But sometimes you need to push systems beyond their design limits. Sometimes you need to take risks." She pointed to the engine readouts. "These ships could carry twice as many people if you stripped out non-essential systems and packed people in tight. It wouldn't be comfortable, but it would save lives. That would be dangerous," the Zephyrian engineer protested. "Safety margins would be compromised." "The safety margin for staying on the planet is 0, Ryan Cole pointed out. "Everyone dies. At least this way, some people have a chance." For the next several hours, the human crew worked with Zephyrian scientists. It was frustrating at first. The Zephyrians were incredibly intelligent, but they thought in straight lines. They followed rules and procedures that had worked for thousands of years. Humans thought differently. They bent rules, took shortcuts, and found solutions that seemed impossible. What the Zephyrians saw as reckless, humans saw as creative. The problem, Jake Martinez realized, is that you've been so advanced for so long that you've forgotten how to improvise. You've never had to think outside the box because your box was always big enough. But now the box is too small, Vorthon said, understanding dawning in his large eyes. So we'd break the box and build a new one. By the time they reached Kepler 44b, the combined human Zephyrian team had a new plan. It was dangerous and had never been tried before, but it could potentially save everyone. The planet was beautiful, but clearly dying. The sky had a sickly color, and the air shimmered with radiation. The crystal cities were partially abandoned as people moved to the most protected areas. "We have 18 days, Vorthan announced as they landed. 18 days to do the impossible." Lisa Park looked at the massive infrastructure around them, power plants that could light entire continents, manufacturing facilities that could build spaceships, and most importantly, a planetary magnetic field generator designed to study space weather. "We're going to need to modify some of your equipment," she said with a grin. "Modify how?" Zephyrian engineer asked nervously. "We're going to turn your planet into a giant shield generator. It's never been done before, it might not work, and it will probably destroy half your cities, but it might save everyone." The Zephyrians stared at her in shock. Ryan Cole stepped forward. "The alternative is that everyone dies anyway. At least this way, we're fighting back." The elder Vorthan was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in his musical voice. "For 10,000 years, we have been a peaceful people. We have never fought, never struggled, never risked everything on a desperate plan. Perhaps it is time we learned." He turned to address all the Zephyrians present. "These humans traveled across the galaxy to help strangers. They see possibilities where we see only problems. I think it is time we started thinking like humans." The work began. Something unexpected happened. Long-range sensors detected new ships approaching the system. These were not more Zephyrian evacuation vessels, they were warships. Alien warships that had been following the Magnetar's path of destruction for years. Waiting to scavenge the remains of dead worlds, the hegemony had arrived, and they were not there to help. Captain Ryan Cole said grimly, "I think our rescue mission just became a war." The hegemony fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel like a pack of wolves surrounding wounded prey. 30 massive warships formed a sphere around Kepler-4 for 2b, their dark hulls bristling with weapons that could crack planets. On the surface, alarms wailed across the crystal cities. The Zephyrians had never seen warships before, but they understood the threat immediately. These ships radiated menace and violence in a way that made their peaceful hearts race with fear. "Captain?" Jake Martinez stood in the Zephyrian command center, watching the enemy fleet on the displays. Each hegemony ship was twice the size of the Endeavor and looked like it was built for one purpose: destruction. "Coming transmission," reported a Zephyrian communications officer, his crystal skin flickering. With nervous patterns, the main display changed to show the bridge of the lead hegemony ship. The being standing there made Martinez's blood run cold. It was massive, nearly 10 feet tall, with thick gray skin covered in scars. Its face was angular and cruel, with small red eyes that seemed to burn with hatred. "I am War Commander Thaxos. Of the Hegemony 4th Conquest Fleet," the creature said in a voice like grinding stone. "This system is now under our control. All inhabitants will surrender immediately." Elder Vorthan stepped forward, his patterns dim with fear but his voice steady. "We are a peaceful people. We have no quarrel with you. Our world is dying. Only wish to evacuate our population." Thaxos laughed, a sound like metal scraping against metal. "Peaceful? How convenient. I will make this easier." His red eyes fixed on the display. "You will gather your people in the major cities. Our ships will collect them for processing into our labor forces." "You mean slavery?" Martinez said, stepping into view. Thaxos's expression changed to one of interest. "Ah, humans. I have heard of your species. It's a minor race from a backwater system. You have traveled far from home to die with these crystal creatures." "We came here to help," Martinez replied. "Help?" Thaxos laughed again. "You brought one small ship against 30 warships. Your help is worthless." He leaned forward, his scarred face filling the screen. "It will make your death slow and painful. Your screams will convince these Zephyrians that resistance is futile." "How?" The transmission ended. Martinez turned to Elder Vorthan. "How long until the Magnetar radiation becomes lethal?" 15 days, Vorthan replied. "And how long until the shield generator is ready?" 10 days if we work without stopping." Ryan Cole looked up from a tactical display. "The hegemony ships are positioning themselves to block all escape routes. They're not planning to attack immediately. They want to watch us squirm first. Lisa Park had been studying the enemy vessels with Zephyrian sensors. These ships are old, she said. Advanced but old. They've been winning easy battles for so long that they've stopped innovating. What do you mean? Asked Dr. Amy Foster. Look at their formation. It's perfect for intimidation, but terrible for defense. They're spread out, showing off their numbers. A real military would keep their ships closer together for mutual support. Ben Clark was examining the orbital mechanics of the system. Magnetar's gravity is affecting everything here. The hegemony ships are having to constantly adjust their positions to maintain orbit. That's a weakness we could exploit. Martinez felt a familiar sensation, the same feeling he got when exploring uncharted space and finding an unexpected solution to a problem. They're bullies, he said. They're used to enemies who surrender immediately or die quickly. They don't know how to fight someone who refuses to give up. Elder Vorthan's patterns brightened slightly. You think we can defeat them? Think we can surprise them, Martinez replied. Sometimes surprise is enough. Over the next few hours, the human crew worked with Zephyrian engineers to turn their peaceful technology into instruments of war. It felt wrong to the Zephyrians, but they were learning that sometimes survival required doing things that felt wrong. Lisa. Ark discovered that the Zephyrians' medical scanners could be modified to disrupt the nervous systems of most biological species. It's like a stun gun, she explained, but it works through space at long range. Amy Foster studied the biological data they had gathered on the hegemony. Their species evolved on a high-gravity world with a weak magnetic field. Their bodies are tough, but their nervous systems are vulnerable to electromagnetic interference. Perfect, Ryan Cole said. We can use their strength against them. Ben Clark was working on something even more ambitious. The Magnetar's gravity well is incredibly strong. If we could accelerate small objects to near-light speed using gravitational slingshot, you want to turn debris into bullets, Martinez? Realized exactly. But we'd need perfect timing and incredible precision. The Zephyrians are good at precision, Martinez said, and humans are good at impossible timing. As they worked, Zephyrian volunteers began arriving at the command center. These beings had never held weapons, never thought about violence, never considered that they might need to fight. But they were learning. A young Zephyrian named Kithara approached Ryan Cole. Teach me to think like a warrior, she said. Warriors don't think differently, Ryan replied. They just refuse to accept defeat. I can do that, Kithara said, her patterns flickering with determination. Dr. Foster was setting up a medical station when she noticed something interesting. The Zephyrian's crystal-like skin isn't just for show, she told Martinez. It's incredibly good at absorbing and redirecting energy. They're natural conductors. Conductors of what? Everything. Heat, electricity, electromagnetic radiation. They're like living circuit boards. Martinez felt another piece of the puzzle click into place. Lisa, could we use the Zephyrians themselves as part of the shield generator? Lisa Park's eyes went wide. That's either brilliant or insane. Probably both. It would be dangerous, Amy warned. They'd be channeling enormous amounts of energy through their bodies. Elder Vorthan had been listening. How dangerous. Some of you might die, Amy said honestly. And if we do nothing, all of us will die, Vorthan replied. We accept the risk. The plan that emerged was like nothing anyone had ever attempted. They would use the planet's magnetic field generator to create a shield against the Magnetar's radiation. But instead of just protecting the planet, they would use the Zephyrians themselves as living amplifiers too. Focus the shield into a weapon. The shield would protect them from the Magnetar, while simultaneously creating an electromagnetic pulse that would disable the hegemony ships. Then they would use the Magnetar's gravity to accelerate debris into projectile weapons. It was a plan that combined Zephyrian technology, human creativity, and a willingness to attempt the impossible. It had never been tried before, violated several laws of physics, and would probably kill them all. I love it, Martinez said. On the second day, Thaxos sent a shuttle to the planet's surface. It landed in the main city, and a squad of hegemony soldiers emerged. They were as big and intimidating as their commander, covered in armor that made them look like walking tanks. The squad leader activated a holographic projector. Thaxus's image appeared, larger than life, speaking to the entire population. Have seen our power? Thaxus said. Submit now, and we will be merciful. Your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make your final days a symphony of pain. The hologram flickered and died. The hegemony soldiers stood waiting for a response. Martinez walked out to meet them, alone and unarmed. The squad leader looked down at him with contempt. You speak for these creatures? The soldier asked. I speak for everyone who refuses to kneel to bullies, Martinez replied. The soldier laughed. One human against the hegemony. This should be amusing. You're right, Martinez said. One human wouldn't be much of a fight. He gestured to the crystal buildings around them. From every doorway, every window, every rooftop, Zephyrians emerged. Thousands of them, standing together, their crystal skin beginning to glow with gathered energy. But we're not alone, Martinez continued, and we're not afraid of you. The soldier's expression changed from contempt to uncertainty. Behind him, his squad raised their weapons nervously. Elder Vorthon stepped forward, his patterns blazing with new purpose. Tell your war commander that the Zephyrians choose to fight. Tell him that we have learned from our human friends that sometimes the only way to save what you love is to be willing to lose everything for it. The soldier backed toward his shuttle. You will regret this choice. Maybe, Martinez said. But at least we'll go down fighting. War Commander Thaxus did not take the defiance well. His response came 6 hours later in the form of 3 warships breaking formation and moving toward the planet. They were his smallest vessels, barely larger than the Endeavor, but they bristled with enough firepower to level entire cities. He's testing us, Ryan Cole observed from the command center. Sending just enough force to crush normal resistance, but not enough to risk his main fleet. Captain Martinez watched the enemy ships approach on the tactical display. Then let's give him a test he won't forget. The battle began at dawn on the 3rd day. The 3 hegemony ships entered the planet's atmosphere, their weapons charging. With an ominous whine that could be heard across the crystal cities, they moved in perfect formation, confident and methodical. Like apex predators stalking helpless prey, they had no idea what was waiting for them. Lisa Park stood at the center. Of a vast array of Zephyrian volunteers, their crystal bodies arranged in geometric patterns across the city's main plaza. Each Zephyrian held a small device that connected them to the planet's magnetic field generator. Remember, she called out to them. You're not just conducting energy. You're focusing it, shaping it, making it into something new. Elder Vorthon was at the center of the formation, his tall form blazing with internal light. We are ready, Lisa Park. Show us how to turn our peace into power. The first hegemony ship fired its main cannon at the largest crystal spire in the city. The beam of energy screamed downward, enough force to vaporize a city block. It never reached the ground. The energy beam struck an invisible barrier 50 feet above the city and scattered like light hitting a prism. Scattered beams reflected harmlessly into the sky, creating a brilliant display of colors that made the crystal buildings sparkle like jewels. Impossible, came Thaxus's voice over the communication channel. No planetary shield can be that precise. This isn't a normal planetary shield, Martinez replied. This is a Zephyrian shield run by human stubbornness. The 3 attacking ships fired together, pouring devastating energy into the city. All of it was absorbed, redirected, and scattered by the living shield network. But Lisa Park wasn't just defending. She was gathering all that incoming energy and storing it. Ben, are you ready? She called. Ben Clark was at the navigation station. Watching the orbital mechanics display with intense concentration, the Magnetar's gravity well is perfectly aligned. I've got a clear shot, Ryan. How are our volunteers doing? Ryan Cole was coordinating with the Zephyrian fighters. They had trained in guerrilla tactics. Ground teams are in position. The hegemony troops have no idea what's coming. Amy, status on the biological weapon? Dr. Amy Foster was at a medical station surrounded by Zephyrian physicians. The electromagnetic pulse frequency is calibrated for hegemony nervous systems. It won't kill them, but it will put them down hard. Martinez nodded. All teams, execute. What happened next would be talked about across the galaxy for generations. Lisa. Park released all the stored energy at once, but instead of firing it back at the ships, she directed it into the planet's magnetic field. The entire planetary magnetic field became a weapon, creating an electromagnetic pulse that reached far beyond the atmosphere. The pulse hit the three attacking ships simultaneously. Their shields failed instantly. Their weapons powered down. Their engines sputtered and died. Inside the ships, hegemony soldiers collapsed as their nervous systems were overwhelmed by electromagnetic interference. But that was just the beginning. Ben Clark had been using the planet's rotation and the magnetar's gravity to accelerate chunks of space debris to incredible speeds. As the enemy ships fell helplessly toward the planet, these improvised projectiles struck them with the force of nuclear weapons. The first ship broke apart completely. Its pieces scattered across the sky like deadly fireworks. The second ship lost its main engines and crashed into the ocean, creating a steam cloud that could be seen from orbit. The third ship managed to regain partial control, but not before Ryan Cole's ground teams had used modified Zephyrian medical scanners to disable most of its crew in less than 10 minutes. 3 hegemony warships had been destroyed or disabled by a planet that supposedly had no defenses. The silence on the communication channel lasted for several minutes. Finally, Nexus's voice came through, no longer mocking, but filled with cold rage. "You will pay for this insult. I am bringing my entire fleet to crush you." "Good," Martinez replied. "We were hoping you'd say that." Thaxos cut the transmission, but long-range sensors showed his remaining 27 ships moving into attack formation. This time, there would be no testing, no underestimating the enemy. This time, the hegemony would bring everything they had. Elder Vorthan approached Martinez, his patterns dim with exhaustion from channeling so much energy. "Can we do that again?" "On a larger scale, we'll have to," Martinez said. "But it's going to be close. The magnetar radiation is getting stronger. We have maybe 6 days before it becomes lethal. And it's going to take 4 days to charge the shield generator for a full power shot." "What about the remaining 2 days?" Vorthan asked. Martinez looked at the tactical display showing the approaching enemy fleet. "We fight." The next 3 days were a blur of activity. Zephyrians worked around the clock to repair and improve their shield network. Human ingenuity combined with Zephyrian precision to create weapons and defenses that neither species could have imagined alone. Lisa Park taught Zephyrian engineers how to overload their power systems safely, squeezing more energy from their crystal-based technology than it was designed to handle. Sometimes, she explained, you have to break the rules to save lives. Amy Foster worked with Zephyrian medical teams to create biological weapons, specifically designed to target hegemony physiology. It went against everything the peaceful Zephyrians believed in. But they were learning that sometimes survival required doing terrible things to prevent even worse things from happening. Ben Clark plotted impossible courses through the magnetars. Gravity well, turning the deadly radiation source into a giant slingshot that could accelerate projectiles to devastating speeds. His calculations were so complex that even Zephyrian computers had trouble following them. Ryan Cole trained more Zephyrian volunteers in combat tactics. They were terrible fighters by any normal standard, but they had advantages no other species possessed. Their crystal bodies could channel energy. Their tall frames gave them reach. Their peaceful nature made them completely unpredictable to professional soldiers. Most importantly, they had something the hegemony had never encountered. They refused to surrender even when facing certain death. On the 6th day, the hegemony fleet arrived in force. 27 massive warships took positions around the planet. Their combined firepower enough to crack the world's crust and boil its oceans. Thaxos's image appeared on every screen in every city. "You've impressed me," he said, his scarred face showing grudging respect. "You fought well for primitives. But this ends now. Surrender, and I will grant you quick deaths." Martinez appeared on the same channel, broadcasting from the command center. Behind him, thousands of Zephyrians could be seen preparing for battle, their crystal bodies glowing with stored energy. Counteroffer, Martinez said. You leave now, and we won't have to embarrass you in front of the entire galaxy, Thaxos roared. With laughter? Embarrass me? You destroyed 3 of my oldest, weakest ships. Now you face the full might of the hegemony. What could you possibly do against us? Martinez smiled, and for the first time, it was a predator's smile. We're going to show you why civilizations call humans when they've given up hope. The shield generator reached full power. The Zephyrian volunteers took their positions. The improvised weapons were armed and ready. The final battle was about to begin, and the galaxy was watching. The final battle began with the fury of 27 hegemony warships firing at once. The sky above Kepler-4 to be turned white with the combined energy of weapons that could destroy moons. The crystal cities below should have been vaporized instantly. Instead, something impossible happened. The Zephyrians had learned from their human teachers. Elder Vorthon stood at the center of a network that now included not hundreds, but millions of his people. Every Zephyrian on the planet had volunteered to become part of the living shield. Their crystal bodies formed a planetary circuit that channeled energy on a scale never before imagined. The incoming weapons fire struck the shield and disappeared. Not scattered, not deflected, but absorbed completely. The energy flowed through the network of Zephyrian bodies like water through a vast river system, gathering strength as it moved toward the planet's magnetic field generator. Impossible, Thaxos snarled from his command ship. No shield can absorb that much energy without overloading.
You're right, Captain Martinez replied over the communication channel. Normal shield can handle it.
But this isn't a normal shield. This is 12 billion people who refuse to die. On the planet's surface, Lisa Park monitored the energy flow with amazement. The Zephyrians weren't just conducting power, they were amplifying it. Each person in the network was adding their own life force to the collective defense. The readings are off the charts, she called to Martinez. They're not just absorbing the weapons fire, they're making it stronger. How much stronger? Tinez asked. Enough to power a star, Lisa replied with awe in her voice. The hegemony fleet poured more fire into the planet, trying to overload the impossible shield. But with each shot, the network grew stronger. The Zephyrians had discovered something their peaceful nature had hidden from them for millennia. When united in purpose, they were unstoppable. Ben Clark watched his orbital calculations with intense focus. The Magnetar's gravity well was perfectly aligned with the planet's rotation. Everything was ready for the counterattack. Lisa, can you redirect all that stored energy into the gravity catapult? I can try, Lisa said. But I've never moved this much power before. If I mess up the calculations, we could blow up the planet. And if you don't try, the hegemony will blow it up anyway, Ryan Cole pointed out. Lisa took a deep breath. Elder Vorthon, I need your people to trust me completely. So what I'm about to do has never been attempted. It might kill us all, Elder. Vorthon's voice came through the communication network, reaching every Zephyrian on the planet simultaneously. We trust you, Lisa Park. We trust all humans. You came across the galaxy to save strangers. Now save us. Lisa's hands flew over the controls. The stored energy began moving through the planetary network, not toward the shield generator, but toward Ben's gravity catapult system. The power levels climbed beyond anything the equipment was designed to handle. Alarms wailed as systems overloaded. Crystal spires began to crack under the strain. The very ground shook as unimaginable forces moved through the planet's crust. It's working, Ben called out. The gravity well is responding. I'm getting acceleration rates that shouldn't be possible. Dr. Amy Foster monitored the biological effects on the Zephyrian volunteers. They're pushing themselves beyond their limits. Some of them are starting to collapse. Hold on, Martinez called to the network. Just a little longer. What happened next would be remembered as the moment when physics bent to the will of desperate people, the planet's magnetic field generator. Powered by the life force of 12 billion Zephyrians and the focused fury of an entire hegemony fleet, created a gravitational pulse that reached out to the Magnetar itself. For one impossible moment, the dead star's gravity well became a weapon. Chunks of asteroid, pieces of destroyed hegemony ships, and even space dust were accelerated to near-light speed and hurled at the enemy fleet. The force of fusion bombs. Punching through shields and armor like they were paper, the first hegemony ship to die was Thax's own flagship. A piece of space rock no bigger than a car, moving at 90% light speed, tore through the massive vessel from bow to stern. The ship broke apart in a brilliant explosion that lit up the entire system, but Thaxos survived. His personal escape pod ejected just before the ship's destruction, and Ryan Cole's people captured him as he tried to reach another vessel, the rest of the hegemony. Fleet lasted less than 10 minutes. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were torn apart by improvised weapons that violated every rule of conventional warfare. The survivors fled into faster-than-light travel, spreading word across the galaxy about the planet where the impossible had become routine. When the battle ended, an exhausted silence fell over Kepler-4 for 2B. The shield network powered down, and millions of Zephyrians collapsed from the strain of channeling unimaginable forces. But they were alive. All of them, the Magnetar's radiation, should have been cooking the planet's atmosphere, was being deflected by the residual energy patterns the battle had left in space. They had bought themselves time. Status report, Martinez called weakly. The battle had taken everything out of all of them. The evacuation ships are ready, Elder Vorthan reported, his crystal skin dim, but his voice filled with wonder. We can save everyone. Every single person on our world, and the hegemony, Martinez asked. Ryan Cole looked up from his prisoner interrogation station. Thaxos is talking. Apparently word of their defeat is already spreading. 3 other species have declared independence from hegemony control. Their empire is collapsing. Doctor. Foster was treating exhausted Zephyrians when she made an announcement that changed everything. The energy patterns the battle created, they're not dissipating. They're stabilizing. I think we accidentally created a permanent shield around this planet. Lisa Park confirmed the readings. She's right. The Magnetar's radiation is being deflected by a self-sustaining energy field. This world is now protected. Elder Vorthan stared at the displays in amazement. You mean we don't have to evacuate? You could stay if you wanted, Martinez said. But I'd recommend evacuating anyway. Your people have learned to fight. They've learned to take risks and push boundaries. Maybe. It's time to explore the galaxy and share what you've learned. The evacuation of Kepler-4 4-B became the most orderly mass migration in galactic history. Every Zephyrian who wanted to leave was saved, but more importantly, they left as a changed people. They were no longer just peaceful scholars and artists. They were survivors who had learned that sometimes the greatest act of peace is to fight. For what you believe in, War Commander Thaxos, held in a Zephyrian detention facility, made one final request. He wanted to speak with Captain Martinez before his trial. How? Thaxos asked, when Martinez visited his cell. My fleet had enough firepower to destroy this planet 10 times over. Your ship was built for exploration, not war. How did you defeat the hegemony? Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, You want to know what humans really are? We're the species that gets called when someone's given up hope. We're the ones who show up when the experts say it's impossible. We don't fight because we're the strongest. We fight because we're too stubborn to accept defeat. That's it? Thaxos demanded. Stubbornness? That's it, Martinez confirmed. Stubbornness, creativity, and the absolute refusal to let good people die when we might be able to save them. Thaxos laughed bitterly. The mighty hegemony, defeated by stubborn primitives and crystal mystics. Not primitives, Martinez corrected. Partners. The Zephyrians brought the technology. We brought the willingness to use it in ways that scared us. Together, we did something neither of us could have done alone. As news of the battle spread across the galaxy, something unprecedented began to happen. Species that had been conquered by the hegemony began to rebel. Peaceful civilizations started building defenses, and everywhere the same message spread. If you need help, call the humans, Dr. Zara Kim. Monitoring communications from her station on Luna, found herself busier than ever. Transmission after transmission arrived from across the galaxy. Some offered friendship and alliance, others warned of new threats. But all acknowledged the same truth. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. 6 months later, Captain Martinez stood on the observation deck of the new U.S. Defiance, humanity's first purpose-built warship. Through the viewport, he could see construction sites where dozens more ships were being built. Earth was preparing for its new role as the galaxy's protector. Ben Clark joined him at the viewport. "Do you think we did the right thing? Is getting involved in galactic politics?" Martinez thought about the question. A year ago, 12 billion people were going to die, and nobody was going to help them. Today, they're alive and free, and 3 dozen other species have thrown off the chains of oppression. I think that's worth the complications. Lisa Park's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian colony ships. They've found a new world, and they're asking if we want to help them build their first city." Martinez smiled. "Tell them we're on our way." As the Defiance turned toward open space, Martinez reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had started as a species looking for its place in the universe. They had found it. They were the ones who answered when hope seemed lost. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, filled with threats that would challenge everything humanity thought they knew about survival. But they would face those challenges the same way they had faced the hegemony, with stubbornness, creativity, and the absolute certainty that no problem was unsolvable if you were willing to try the impossible. Behind them, Earth prepared for war. Ahead of them, the galaxy waited to see what other miracles the humans could perform. The age of human legend had begun.